Hey, from New Jersey, it's the SNL Nerds, a show where two comics from New Jersey nerd out about Saturday Night Live. I'm your co-host, John Trumbull.
And I'm your co-host, Darren Patterson.
Hello, Darren Patterson.
Hello, sir. We've done it. SNL 50. We've come to the end of the road.
Yeah.
What a journey. Well, the times we've had, the life we've lived, the friends we've made along the way, through the good times and the bad. It all comes down to this.
We made friends?
I made a couple.
Okay. Oh.
You don't know them. I probably should have introduced you.
Right.
But, you know, I didn't want to make it awkward, so it's a whole...
Yeah, no, I get that. Injecting me into any friendship instantly does make it awkward.
You said inject.
So, anyway, yeah, we finished off another one.
That's right.
We'll at the end of this podcast recording. I'm counting it early. I'm calling it early. Yeah.
I'm calling it now.
I don't think this podcast is going to collapse in on itself before we finish recording this one. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and mark this off as done.
I don't jinx us like that, man. You don't know what the future holds.
We're going to have a big falling out. But
Yep.
Actually, before we get into the season finale of SNL 50, and we will, Scarlett Johansson, Bad Bunny, season 50, episode 21, May 17, 2025, all that stuff. We're going to cover it. But there was something I wanted to chat with you about. Is I started in on a kind of older show, but it's one that's of interest to us both because it's largely about the world of stand-up.
Oh,
and it's a show that's on HBO called Crashing with Pete Holmes.
Yes, I remember that show from. I don't want to say from back in the day because to me it didn't feel like it was.
Well, it goes
that long
like
ago.
5 years now.
Wow,
it ran from 2017 to 2019. It ran 3 seasons, 8 episodes each.
Okay.
So it's a quick watch. It's what is that? That's 24 episodes.
Yeah.
Total?
Yeah, I remember hearing about this show and being really interested because it is about Pete Holmes, this comedian from Boston who came to New York and kind of to seek his fortune. I think basically the show is all about his life, right?
It's semi-autobiographical. He's playing kind of I would say a variant of himself. His character in the show is Pete Holmes,
right?
And several other comedians appear as themselves, like Artie Lang, Sarah Silverman, T.J. Miller. And as it starts out, he unexpectedly gets divorced. His wife is cheating on him.
Yeah.
That is inspired by bits from Pete Holmes' own life. His first marriage ended that way. Because
he came from a very religious background and he got married extremely young.
Yeah, at 22, something like that.
Wow. Yeah.
And so he's kind of, and he's making his way into the stand-up world. And initially he's
crashing
with a different comedian each week.
Oh, Crashing. That's the title of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Ha!
And, so at first he's he's crashing with Artie Lang for a few nights, and he's crashing with T.J. Miller, and he crashes with Sarah Silverman. And they kind of get away from that in the subsequent seasons because it's also Pete Holmes, climbing the ladder of stand-up success.
Right. Yeah, I think I remember that because if you are somebody who's big into stand-up comedy and you really enjoy really like getting nerdy with it like we do, that's kind of the reason I want to kind of watch it more and find out more about it because they go into barking when you have to bark people into the room, to the comedy club to get some stage time.
Yeah, which barking is, if you don't know, it's basically you're standing on a street corner in the city and you're passing out flyers to get people to come into the club. And you scribble your name on the back of the flyer, and then if you get 5 people in, then you get some stage time. So it's basically getting free labor from the comedians in exchange for stage time.
Yeah. So and also the whole thing takes place in New York City. So if you're into New York City, if you're into stand-up comedy, this show is seemed to be just made for you.
Yeah, and they both are showing real venues like the Comedy Cellar, and in places they're reconstructing old venues that aren't around anymore, like the Boston Comedy Club. And this one was near and dear to my heart. They in second season episode, they recreate Rafifi,
Ooh,
where Invite Them Up happened.
nice.
And they got Bobby Tisdale and Eugene Merman to co-host it. And there's one, there's one episode where he's basically going around the city and kind of investigating the alt comedy scene. And John Mulaney's in that episode, and it's really cool. And I mean, it was a big nostalgia trip for me because like Rafifi, Invite Them Up ended in like 2008 or something like that. So like 10 years later, they're recreating it.
Right.
And it's wild because it looked dead on. Like if I didn't know better, I would say like, oh yeah, you shot that at the real place.
Oh, far out.
And it also like hits on a lot of other like venues for stand-up comedy. Like, they have an episode that goes into the alt comedy scene. There's one where they go to the NACA convention where they're all trying out and performing for entertainment boards at colleges to try and get on the college circuit.
Wow.
Because like, they go there, they do a set, and then like colleges come up and they were like, hey, we'd like to book you. And as I'm like 4 episodes from the end right now, and he's starting to get into like the religious comedy scene.
Oh, nice.
And it's really fascinating. And there's this one episode in the 3rd season, co-written by our friend Mike Lawrence, by the way.
Hey, friend of the show.
Yeah, and it's called MC Middle Headliner. And it's Pete going on like a road trip to a mall in New Jersey. It was like shot at the Palisades Mall, I think.
Oh, nice.
Because they had like the Ferris wheel inside there.
Oh yeah, that's in Nyack. I know.
Yeah. So that's where they shot. And a lot of malls, or at least in this area of the country, have like little comedy clubs inside them. And yes. So Pete goes there, and I found it fascinating because like the guy who's the headliner, who's played by Dov Davikoff. I think I'm mangling his name slightly. I don't have it in front of me.
Okay.
But that's the other cool thing is that all the comedians, whether they're playing themselves or not, all the comedians are played by real life stand-ups.
Wow.
So all the comedy you see, it feels like real stand-up comedy because it's like from people who have done it and know how to do it. And the headliner is like sort of this old school guy who's like time has passed his act by a little bit. And he's not quite accepting of it. He can't really get away with the same sort of jokes he used to.
Yeah, those Lewinsky jokes don't hit anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like all the stuff he was doing in the late 90s of like anti-PC stuff.
Oh dear.
And Pete is like, generally a very clean comic. And then the other comic who's kind of stuck with being the MC, she's like a comic more of today.
Okay.
But the venue is so retro that like when they're introducing her as the MC, they're like, oh, please welcome the lovely and talented comedian. And, it's just like, oh, nobody calls them comedians anymore. They're all just comics.
Yeah, they're all just, yeah. Wow. Okay.
But it was a really great episode. That one blew me away. So I got to write Mike a note and tell him how much I liked it. There's another episode where they do roast battle.
Oh, right. That was a huge thing for the longest time.
Yeah. And Mike Lawrence is in that one, and Sarah Tiana and Jeff Ross, and and it all has this air of authenticity to it. So if you're a comedy geek, definitely check out Crashing on it's on HBO Max. I'm really been enjoying it, and it's I'd say it's probably the best fictional depiction of stand-up comedy that I've seen, or the most accurate.
Oh wow! Okay,
So,
the glowing review.
yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I watch the last 4 episodes. Suck now. It's landing. But,
Yeah, it just totally crashed right before I got to the finish line.
yeah, but I was like, oh god, I got to talk about this with Darren. I think I thought you had finished it. So
No, I remember I watched a few episodes and I was like, oh, it is okay, but then I never really followed up with it. That is something I would like. I was interested in because I do enjoy shows about stand-up comedians. I don't know. Do you remember the Jim Gaffigan show when that was on like TV Land or something.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, like the second season, I remember really liking. They had that one episode about like because Gaffigan's a comic in the city, and like he wasn't on some list of the top 10 comedians in New York City, and it like really bothered him just because he wasn't on this list that some blogger put out.
Right.
So he was like on a quest to somehow get on the list. So he was like, because like usually he plays like in the clubs and whatnot in New York. So like he was trying to play like more hipster, cool alt venues in that episode.
Yeah.
I think he ended up playing at like this one venue I know, QED in Astoria, Queens, and everything. It was a really cool.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. It was a really cool episode because like there was a while where like a lot of comedians I knew were like really like obsessed with like getting on these lists that somebody like arbitrarily put out. It's like, how come I'm not on this list? I perform all in Brooklyn and everything. It's who you know and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like that episode. I remember.
Yeah, and it's also I like this because it's also like a gradual climb. He's not like instantly successful. You see, his career proceeds in fits and starts, which feels very true to life. And it's like with Seinfeld. Seinfeld was a successful comic on that show, not as successful as the real life Jerry Seinfeld. And it was like a similar thing with Louis, CK on Louis. They were like established, successful comedians. And like when this show starts, like nobody in the comedy world really knows who Pete Holmes is. And he kind of is gradually making a name for himself as he goes. There's a whole episode at the top of the third season that's about him trying to pass at the Comedy Cellar.
Nice.
And they shoot a lot at the Comedy Cellar. And there are a lot of cameos from real comedians and stuff. And so I've really been digging it.
Okay, sir, you have convinced me. I'm gonna go watch Crashing.
There are dozens of us. Dozens. Yeah, I gave it a try before, and then I don't know, life got in the way. I only got like 7 episodes into it my first attempt. This time, I've been I can polish off like a season in a day because it's only like 8 episodes, 8 half-hour episodes a season, so it's like 4 hours. So if you have no life like me, it's perfect.
Nice.
Yeah.
So this has been TV Corner here on the SNL Nerds. Go watch Crashing, people.
Yeah, watch Crashing. Our 8-year late recommendation.
That's right. Next up, Lost.
Yeah. Ooh, don't spoil it for me.
Shh.
All right. Anyway, so let's cover the season finale of SNL, shall we?
We shall.
So once again, Scarlett Johansson, Bad Bunny, season 50, episode 21 from May 17th, 2025, and shocker of shockers, we start out with a Trump Middle East cold open.
I was genuinely surprised that they went this route because, like,
really? How?
That's because they just did it. Like, I was like, all right,
that's what they do. This is what they do. We're in a never-ending time loop of Trump cold opens.
Yeah, but part of me thought, all right, well, they know that they've already done Trump cold opens like 3 times in a row. So like
ad infinitum, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, of course they're gonna do something different, right? And
no, hell no.
No. Why? No, I guess
no.
Ooh. So it's the Trump cold open, talking about Trump's visit to the Middle East, and we have him meeting up with the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, played by Emil Wakim, and it's kind of a lot of more of the.
I like seeing Emil, have a more prominent role than he usually gets. I think it kind of sucks that this is what they're casting him as because they could use him so much more.
Yeah, of course we see Trump talking about the things he likes about Saudi Arabia. He's a big fan of Saudi Arabia. Everything they have to offer, from the oil to the money to end of list.
Yeah. Did you notice that they gave Trump like a normal length tie?
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it used to like go halfway down to his crotch, which was, like just a mildly exaggerated version of the real Trump. And I was like watching this, and I'm like, why are they doing that? Why are they making him less cartoonish?
I did not even notice that.
I thought that was weird.
Interesting.
I did like how he said, "Get me to Allah's country."
Yes, that got a big pop from everybody.
That was cute.
Of course, him mentioning about how he accepted an airplane from Qatar and how people are saying, "Oh, you should have an airplane, an American-made airplane, and he's like, "No, I don't think so. Have you seen our airplanes? Nope,
Yeah.
they don't quite hold up, do they?" Newark.
Yeah. And then they kind of break the fourth wall where Trump goes into the audience and takes a seat from an audience member, and it's sort of like what they did during the first Trump administration. Whenever they were taken off for Christmas or for the end of the season, they always had sort of a goodbye Trump cold open because they never knew when Trump was going to self destruct or
Mhm.
if ever. And so it's kind of that, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we're saying goodbye to Trump, and not just the fake fun version that makes you smile." And I was like, "Hey, you're overestimating yourself there."
Damn.
I mean, nothing against James Austin Johnson, you're great, but I am sick of fictional Trump as much as real Trump.
Yeah, I think they kind of did this to maybe separate, because like I have seen some people say that, oh, this depiction JAJ does of Trump, it kind of
Yeah,
humanizes the real Trump. So part of me hopes
yeah,
that he did this to separate himself from the real Trump. To be like, no, I'm the fictional goofy Trump. The real Trump is a goddamn monster. And
yeah. You know what? I got a little insight into that because I've been reading Susan Morrison's book, and
mm,
she's going to be she's on a bonus episode that you can get if you go to our Patreon,
ooh,
and you can
nice.
listen to that now. Uh, something she says that there's like apparently a thing with Lorne Michaels is he says like do it in sunshine,
Yes, I remember
and
that.
which is sort of like find the bit of humanity in every character. And it's like they've been doing that with Trump, and they're presenting Trump as like being more lovable or more endearing than he is in real life.
Yeah, I remember they kind of did that with G.W. Bush too
Yeah,
back in
yeah,
the day.
and yeah, I get the philosophy of it, but I really think Trump's he's not like any other politician. So I
No.
don't think you can treat him like any other politician, and I feel like the show is still treating him like a normal politician, and I think
Yeah.
that's the crux of my problem with how they treat Trump on the show.
Yeah. No. That's a fair point. Fair
You know,
point.
because they're giving him an empathy or whatever that isn't there. You know?
Right. No. That's fair point. Yeah. I don't know. I just kind of wish they would use him a lot more sparingly.
Yeah,
Well, again, like, and I feel we've talked about this 100 times. Where yeah, it is a very good.
we have.
We need to space it out a bit. Even though he does have some good lines I like he when JJ sat in the audience, he pointed out how everybody
Mm-hmm.
on the floor is very attractive.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It was like 7 or above on the floor.
6 or below to the bleachers you go.
Yeah.
From what I've heard people say, yeah, that is a thing. Like if you're more camera ready, they'll more likely to sit you on the floor closer to the where the cameras are.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
if you're more harsher on the eyes, they up to the belfry you go. Hunchback.
Wow. I'm thinking a few weeks back when Kieran Culkin and Bill Burr were in the audience, and they were
Ooh,
they were in the bleachers for the
mm.
Jack Black show.
Ooh,
What
what
does
is it?
that mean?
Ah, means they're uggos, John.
Wow.
That's right. Yeah, I said it.
Wow.
That's
By the way,
right.
Bill Burr also in an episode of Crashing.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Ah,
yeah.
I'm on crashing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm on this. Ah, he's on my couch. He's on my couch.
He's in my guest room.
Yeah,
We made up the bed.
yeah. He's eating nut and honey on my bed. Eating the grape nuts there, sweetheart.
So yeah. So I mean, yeah.
It's
I dislike how by rote the cold opens have gotten lately, and that's my big hope for season 51 is that they get more variety into the cold opens once again.
I hope so too. I was hoping they would do something more about reflecting on back on season 50, this big momentous thing, and they kind of
Well,
didn't.
they
They
did that during the monologue, I would say.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I wish they would kind of done something else. Like, I mean, I'll give them points for trying to figure out new and crazy ways to use Trump and make him a little bit more fresh. But I think the freshest thing you could do now is to just not use him at all and just come up with a totally
Hmm.
different idea for a cold open at this point.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just talk about the shit that's going on, but don't depict him in person. I think you can do that. I think it's a little tougher to do that, but
yeah, we put the challenge out to you, SNL writers.
Yeah, but I feel like they probably are like, oh no, we get a lot of YouTube hits this way. So
YouTube hits, son of a bitch,
fucking algorithm.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but yeah, if you're listening to this on YouTube, please put a like and share and rate and review.
Oh no, yeah, that YouTube algorithm we like, but
yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cold Open, written by Mike Chenzo, Allison Gates, James Austin Johnson, Ken Sublette, with assists from Jimmy Fowley, Ali Levitan, and Sierra O'Sullivan.
That's like what, a half dozen writers? Wow.
Yeah, it's like I named a basketball team. What was it?
I know, seriously.
Your New York Knicks.
Okay. Anyway, so let's move on to the monologue. That had a little more of the season 50 retrospective that you were looking for.
Yes.
Scarlett Johansson comes out. Great. She looked great. Nice black dress. Talked about how she first hosted the show when she was 21 years old. So that's like nearly 20 years she's been on this show, which is wild to think.
Pretty wild, yeah.
Yeah. And she looks more or less the same, which is part of why it seems odd that it's been nearly 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, oddly enough, that picture of her, that portrait in her attic, that is aging by the day. So that is weird how that works.
She and Paul Rudd went to the same guy. And, yeah.
But yeah, first time she hosted January 14th, 2006.
Wow. And now she's like part of the family. She's like married into the SNL family.
Yep, part of the family.
And she starts singing a song to the tune of Piano Man. And then she's soon joined by Bowen and Sarah, and then eventually all the rest of the cast.
Basically a good majority of the whole cast comes out. Ego talks about how she's been in 300 sketches. Longfellow has been in 4.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah, and then they also make a quick joke about, Sarah's leaving the show, and then Sarah says, "Wait, what? What have you heard? Have you heard something?"
Yeah, that was cute. That was very cute. Because, end of the season, there's been a lot of speculation about who might be leaving, who might be staying, and really they didn't, outside of a couple jokes, there wasn't anything, no confirmation that anybody's leaving. But that's very typical of SNL.
Yeah, for sure. It's always like this season 50, the finale, or any finale. People are always wondering, who's going to stay, who's going to go, what big changes are going to come, any big shakeups. But so far, it didn't seem like we will not be shook. No shakeups at all.
No, I mean, it really is more the exception than the rule that somebody gets a big goodbye sketch like the way Kristen Wiig did, or the way Phil Hartman and Chris Farley did.
Right. Yeah. Like usually you have to kind of be like the superstar of the show, like Kate McKinnon did.
And usually it's like when it's their decision, of course. Right. I mean, Lorne doesn't decide who is staying and who's going until like late in the summer, like mid-August. So.
No, absolutely.
So,
but yeah, I don't have much to say about it. It was kind of pretty straightforward. It's kind of sweet and nice. Just them singing about the end of the season, the big season 5-0. I thought this was pleasant enough.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and I'm sure they just wanted to do something with the entire cast. Especially if it does turn out to be a few people's last show. Because there are a few people who are, let's face it, they're probably on the bubble.
Oh,
like Beth.
Classic Beth.
Classic Beth. I did like the line where Mikey Day goes like, "Oh, I thought Billy Joel was actually going to come out," and Scarlett just goes, "Oh, Mikey, so cute, so simple."
Yes, that is a good joke I liked. Where after they were singing the song to the Piano Man, it's like, "Ladies and gentlemen, Billy Joel wrote this song."
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's
cute. This monologue written by Mike DiCenzo, Jake Nordwind, and Kent Sublette.
Okay.
Yeah, so, next up we got local news stories written by Allison Gates, Colin Jost, and the PDD Boys.
So we got Channel 4 News. We got Ashley Padilla and Keenan as the regular anchors, and Scarlett as playing an anchor who's subbing for one of the other morning show anchors. She's from the nightly news, and she's very taken with the morning show habit of leading into stories with puns.
Right, yeah. And also, I did kind of enjoy the way this sketch began with Emil Joachim as the weatherman singing the intro and doing the little dance to the tune of Pink Pony Club by Chapel Roan. But he was saying, it's Channel 4, where it's time for the news now. Yeah, I think the little dance he did kind of made me chuckle and did it.
It was so bad it was endearing, and I was like, look, I appreciate them throwing Emil a bone. I wish they'd done more of that throughout the season.
Throw him all the bones.
Yes.
Oh, that sounded dirty, but
it kind of did.
Whatever.
We'll just move on.
I ain't taking it back. I said what I said.
Yep. It's out there now.
But yeah, so the joke here is that it's daytime news and ScarJo works for the nightly news. So like you said, like she's taken by how they do a little pun in the mornings, and she's like, "Oh, I'll try one for maybe one of my segments," and then she's saying, "Well, hasta la visa, baby. Baby has been deported."
Yeah, and they're all heinous or disturbing stories about people getting murdered or kidnapped or whatever. This was okay. I don't have a great deal to say about this one, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, kind of once you see what the joke is, it kind of repeats and doesn't really go anywhere. I did like
it felt more like a middle of the show sketch than something you're leading off the night with, but
yeah, I don't know if I would have kicked off the night with this. Like she's saying, like, I'll have what she's having. Queen's couple dies in a apparent murder-suicide.
Yeah.
Or things like, or I think at one point the man on the street played by Devin Walker gets more into it, and he's standing in front of a Chili's, and he's saying, "I want my baby back, baby back, baby back," says a mother who's had her daughter kidnapped from a Chili's.
Yeah.
So it gets more and more darker, but the I don't know. Yeah, I think the gag of it kind of doesn't maybe have the legs that maybe you think.
Yeah.
And then you have Keenan popping in, like trying to wrap everything up, saying things like, "Well, much like when I make love to my beautiful wife, we have to finish early."
Like, and then we have Emil going out again with the theme.
Yeah, I thought, I didn't hate it, but
yeah, I didn't hate it either. But I thought it was just basically a so-so kind of sketch.
Yeah, I would say so kind of sketch. More like you said, like there's like maybe belongs more in the middle, but I thought it was like, all right, this is okay enough.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Okay enough. And next we have this can't be right. My notes say we have a Please Don't Destroy video.
What? Is this in the Cut for Time sketches you're looking at?
It must be. It must be. I mean, God knows their stuff doesn't make it to air anymore.
They even say that in the sketch.
Yeah, it starts out with Scarlett Johansson like coming into their office, and she says, "Hey guys, you sad the season's over and you only did 2 videos." I like that because it kind of implied that it was like them slacking off for the entire season rather than them just not getting stuff on, like it was their fault, that's kind of a funny slant on it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty great. And no, the boys say, we're just kind of been really bummed because of the state of the world. It just gestures towards everything happening in the world today, and just like, really, everything feels like it's falling apart, and we're just sad.
Yeah.
And then ScarJo's like,
I mean, taking a break from all your worries would mean a lot.
John, wouldn't you like to get away?
I mean, sometimes you just want to go where everybody knows your name.
Dun, dun, dun.
Cheers, guest on the Fire and Water Network.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Free plug for you, Ryan.
There you go, Ryan. Who loves you, baby? So then ScarJo says, well, you guys need a vacation. Hey, why don't you come with me? I'll fly you first class, all on me, and we'll go on vacation. Cut to them on an airplane in first class. They do a little rap video, them spitting bars about...
Was that like to the tune of one of Bad Bunny's songs? Because it sounded really familiar, the tune.
I did not recognize it as a Bad Bunny
Okay.
song. I think that's a PDD original collab, son.
Okay. It sounded really familiar, so I was like, "Is this?" I don't know. It sounded like one of his songs to me, but
No,
I'm not terribly familiar with his material. So
no, I think that was a PDD joint. Uh,
okay.
so yeah, so they're having living it up in first class, sipping champagne and the like, and then ScarJo kind of casually mentions like, "Oh yeah, we're just having a great time, and we're gonna land in Newark."
Right.
And for those that aren't in the know, Newark Airport is in not the best of shape these
No,
days.
I mean there's stuff going on, and also Newark Airport is like right outside of the city. A lot of times when you're flying into the New York area, you come into Newark Airport
Yeah,
instead of like LaGuardia.
yeah, it's super close to Manhattan.
Yeah, it's basically like just over the river.
Right.
As they say in the video, because they say they also flew out of LaGuardia, and they're like, it's a half-hour drive. What are we doing?
Yeah, both JFK and LaGuardia are in Queens, but they are further out from Manhattan. It'll take you a while to get out there. But Newark is right there. But unfortunately, Newark Airport is it's really bad. I mean, from what I've heard, it's like understaffed. Air traffic controllers, there aren't a lot of them. And even the air traffic controllers are saying, yeah, it's kind of dangerous. I wouldn't advise coming out of flying out of Newark. We're canceling flights left and right. I was like, geez.
But hey, at least our transit strike's over.
Yeah, Jersey strong.
Jersey strong.
Jersey strong.
Yeah.
So now after the boys find out they're gonna land in Newark, now they're panicking. Now they're getting a little nervous.
And then they start suffering some turbulence. Everybody starts to panic, and we cut to Mikey as the pilot. One of the guys is like, "Oh, let me watch something on your phone to calm down," but they only have the pilot of Lost on their phone.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good gag because Lost starts out with a very harrowing looking plane crash.
Right, and they are hitting some turbulence. I think at one point ScarJo tries to rap while walking down the aisle, but then she flies up in the air and hits her head on the ceiling.
And she's like, nope, buckling up. I like how it keeps cutting between the music video fantasy world and then the real stuff they're going through.
Yes, absolutely.
That was cute. And when they think they're going to crash, they were like, well, look, are we famous enough to make the article? Will it be like Scarlett Johansson and Please Don't Destroy die in a plane crash? And then she's like, who's Please Don't Destroy? I love that she doesn't know who they are.
Who did you think we were?
Yeah.
So Mikey the pilot is trying to call the air traffic controller. And who is the air traffic controller? It's Bad Bunny. And he's just, oh, hey, this is like my first day here. There's like nobody here.
Yeah.
I'll try to help out. So like, what color is your plane, man?
Yeah.
And it's like him looking out the window. It's like, see what I can do.
And I also like when they think they're about to crash, they're giving out their regrets, and Scarlett Johansson just says, I regret that the Avengers didn't make even more money at the box office.
I respect that. But the as it looks like they're about to go down, Bad Bunny steps up to the plate. He somehow magically figures out how to land a plane safely, and the plane lands safely, and everybody's okay. We see Ben having a huge pee stain on his crotch.
Yeah,
and it ends with Bad Bunny.
As you do.
Look, hey, if I'm about to crash, I'm defecating and urinating everywhere. That's all I'm saying.
I'm 52. I don't even need that excuse.
Wow. Yeah. This podcast brought to you by Depends.
I'm doing well to make it through this podcast without a bathroom break, quite frankly.
Wow. We're still learning so much about each other, John.
We really are. Yeah. I feel closer to you now.
Yeah, and then the episode, and the sketch ends with Bad Bunny looking into the camera saying, "Hey, you can do anything if you put your mind to it."
Yeah.
Pretty good PDD sketch. I enjoyed it. I mean,
decent.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. That it didn't end with them crashing, because I was like, all right, yeah, that might be.
Oh, that would be too meta.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought. Like, because usually in a PDD sketch, they would do something like that. But part of me thought, that might be too
They
much.
probably didn't want to tempt fate.
Yeah. So they're like, let's sweeten this up a bit and have them
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed this one for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice to have him back, and especially for the last show this season. I'm glad they got something on the show. And
Here.
I mean, we'll talk about this more next week in our season recap episode. But yeah, it's a shame they were so underutilized this year.
Yeah, what is going on? What was with? Because it seemed like
I don't know.
When they first got on the show, they were building up a lot of momentum, and it seemed like, oh, they're going to be the next big thing. They're going to be the next Lonely Island, and then it just like all went away. Like they're still there and they're still writing sketches, but the brand of PDD just kind of,
it's the exception rather than the rule that they're on the show now, which is a shame.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Anyway, we'll dive into it next week. We got more new sketches to cover, Darren.
That's right, we do. We got couples at the bar.
At the bar. We're give us the rating credits. Lay them on us, Darren.
We got Mike DiCenzo, Mike Marcelo Hernandez, and Jake Nordwind.
Really? There was a Spanish speaker on the writers of this sketch.
Sí.
I am muy surprised.
Café con leche.
Yeah.
Muy guapo.
So first off, there's the grizzly pear. It doesn't look much like the real grizzly pear, I would say.
I think they just took the name because even the spelling of it was different because they spelled it Grizzly, but the grizzly pear is Grisly.
Grizzly Pear is a stand-up venue in the city, folks. Mm-hmm. Also recreated on Crashing, or maybe shot at the real one. I don't know.
Right, but yeah. So in this sketch, we have Marcelo and Ego. They're a couple who are sitting at a table, and they basically
Ego's saying like what was supposed to be a one-night stand turned into 3 weeks together, and it very quickly becomes clear that Marcelo is not as invested in the relationship as she is.
He just wants to. He just wanted to hit it and quit it.
Yes.
As they say.
Yes.
As the kids say.
And she's like, talking about how her lease is up and she's hinting that she wants to move in together. And he's like, no.
I know.
And then Scarlett Johansson and Bad Bunny come by and they say, hey, you're at our table.
Yeah, but it's more Scarlett Johansson's kind of starting. It's like, hey, me and my man, we've been sitting here every time at this table, so you need to get up. And then Ego says, well, we, first come, first serve. You move, you go somewhere else. Right. And so basically it's the women saying, hey, you men, you handle that. You go fight for our honor. You fight for our table. So then the two Spanish men, Bad Bunny and Marcelo, like, they don't want to do this. They don't want to fight with each other. So
I mean, they're doing that thing where, that all guys love, where the woman is just kind of talking up a storm and being like, well, my man's going to kick your ass. And, really puts the guy on the spot.
Yeah, no one puts baby in the corner.
Right.
So then the men pretend to tough talk each other, but they're doing it in Spanish. Mm-hmm. So, like, they're saying things like, hey, man, I don't want to do this.
Their subtitles are revealing their real feelings.
Yes, and of course, the women don't understand them because they're speaking Spanish. Right. And, of course, they're saying things like, Leah, like, I know we're not supposed to say women are crazy, but my woman is out of her mind. I'm afraid of her.
Yeah.
Women be crazy, y'all. Y'all know what's up.
And we also have Andrew Dismukes and James Austin Johnson as other patrons of the bar. They're observing, and they're waiting for the two women to like slap and kiss.
Yeah, they're kind of doing like a Statler and Waldorf thing where they're just kind of looking on, giving commentary about the whole thing.
But the two guys, they kind of come to an understanding, Marcelo and Bad Bunny, and they're just talking about how both their girlfriends are crazy, but that's part of the appeal because once they go to therapy, they aren't the same.
Haha, that's right. Crazy women have the best cat.
That's a great joke.
Wow.
That's a great joke. That's a very funny translation joke.
Yeah. And then, of course, the ScarJo and Ego come in with their remedial, Spanish. There's like, let me say stuff in words you can understand. And she says, like, big bathroom shoes in Spanish. Yeah. Then Ego, not to be outdone, says, well, I know Spanish too, bitch. I used to work at Chipotle. And then, she says something like, and then tomato pencil sharpener.
Yeah.
In Espanol.
And Bad Bunny kind of sells Marcelo down the river by
Yes, he
talking
does.
about how devoted Marcelo is to Ego, and Ego's so impressed. He's like, "I'm gonna take you back home, and and let
Yeah.
me tell you what I'm gonna do to you." And the subtitles say, "Oranges, boobs, soup made of cow feet."
Mm-hmm.
So
It's like you've had me at boobs.
yeah, that
Yeah.
tatas.
Yes. Tatas. Yeah, and then it ends with JAJ and Dismukes kind of summarizing everything that happened. And then JJ says, love, it's strange, but it's beautiful to the in Espanol.
Yeah.
Um, hmm. This was interesting.
Yeah. Just the initial reaction you want in a comedy sketch.
just a scratching of the chin and be like, interesting.
This, actually, I enjoyed it more the second time I watched it for the podcast. It's cute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that. Part of me thinks like that whole part where they cut away to JJ and Dismukes the first time, then
Mm-hmm.
go back. I thought maybe part of me thought maybe it would have flowed, but if they didn't do that and just saved JJ and Dismukes for the very end for that part where JJ says, looks
Yeah,
at
I
the
guess they
camera.
wanted to set them up first. Maybe it would have been too
Yeah, I guess.
disconcerting having just the two of them at the end or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. But overall, I thought the sketch was okay. I got a few chuckles out of it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
boobs and cow feet. Like, those are funny words.
Yeah, true.
You know.
True.
So yeah,
Probably a horrible soup, but
yes, the worst of soups.
yeah.
So we got another pre-tape. Holy moly, guys! Bowen's still straight.
What? Oh,
Yes, yes.
shocking.
I'm
So,
beside myself.
so this is a sequel to a sketch that they did on the Sydney Sweeney show. Was that last season?
That was, I believe it was. I'll double check.
Yeah, I feel like it was last season because it feels like it was a while ago.
Okay.
But we have Scarlett Johansson, Ego, and Heidi, and Scarlett's like, "Hey, look, I know I'm married to Colin and all, but I've got a crush on somebody from the show, and she's got a crush on Bowen." And Ego and Heidi are both like, "Oh, you should go for it because Bowen's actually straight. He just dials up the gay for clout." And we see Gina Gershon again making
Again.
another cameo. So she must be local. She's got to be living.
Gotta be right.
Somewhere.
She's
Yeah.
gotta live around the corner or something.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool. She's quite a sport.
Okay. And yeah, the Sydney Sweeney that was from last year. Yeah.
Okay. And we got Scarlett Johansson and Bowen making out in the control room. And like while Weekend Update is playing on the monitors, which was a nice touch.
Hot.
Yeah. Makes it makes an extra betrayal. And then like she agrees to meet up with Bowen at 2 a.m. after the show, and then she meets up with Bowen at his place, and he's like totally oblivious. He's been like playing video games.
Yeah. He basically does that thing like most straight guys do. Once they hit it, then they're totally uninterested and be like, "Oh yeah, you're who? Okay, sure."
Yeah, and then like Ego comes out of the bedroom. We find out that Bowen hooked up with Ego, and then Heidi comes out of the bathroom.
I did like how Heidi was wearing a T-shirt with Las Culturistas, which is Bowen's actual podcast.
Yeah, that was a nice touch. And then Bowen goes off with Emily
Ratajkowski,
the naked lady from the Blurred Lines video.
Yes, yeah, they leave for Tokyo.
Yeah, and and it's an actual cameo from her, the real life.
Yes.
Emily Ratatouille, whatever.
Ratatouille.
Yeah, she gets on Patton Oswalt's head and she's like controlling his.
Yeah, they make a nice little beef bolognese.
Yeah, exactly. So what'd you think of this?
I thought it was okay. I mean, I liked it the first time.
Yeah.
I guess maybe because the first time it was kind of so not shocking, but it's definitely like unexpected and new. So like now, I guess I'm more expecting the same beats, and for the most part, I got them. But there was still a few good lines here and there. Like there was that one scene where Colin, Jost, and and ScarJo get in the elevator. Then Bowen stops him, and he talks to Joe, saying, "Hey, man, just good work this season. Just keep it up. I'm excited to watch you grow."
Yeah,
like, little things like that.
I mean, I do. It was funny of them like presenting Colin as like this total cuck, and they did like one of the promos for this week was he was like stalking Scarlett through the studio, and he was like, "Hey, honey, do you think we could finally kiss?"
Yes.
And that was a very clever promo. One of the funniest they've done in a while.
Yes, I wish. It's like sometimes if you watch the promos,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hate to say this, but they're sometimes
funnier than the show.
There it is. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, why can't we take that energy and put it into the show?
Well, I think it's probably a lot easier to write like a cool, memorable 30-second, 1-minute promo than like a several-minute sketch.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Man.
So this was enjoyable, but I don't think we really needed this again. I wasn't like clamoring for them to revisit it.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like it really built on the first one, you know?
Yeah, I think that's the thing that they do a lot now, where like something works the first time, then they just kind of rinse and repeat and do the exact same thing. And it's like, well, no, you don't have to do the exact same. You can take the premise and then explore it a little bit more and do different shit with it. You don't have to hit the same beats.
I don't like it when it feels like a reprise of a sketch is just kind of like they did a search and replace and they just revise it and they hit as many of the same beats as possible. So that was kind of the vibe I got from this. And it's disappointing, especially like when you liked it the first time around and then you see it again and you're just like, oh, well, that wasn't as good. Yeah, of course it wasn't as good because it wasn't as surprising, you know?
Yeah, all the beats now. You know how this is going to go. And you just... So just don't go the way you don't go the same way that you went before, you know.
Don't zig where you zag. Like, I mean, like, what if I'm just throwing this out there? What if Bowen like got Scarlett pregnant or something?
Yeah, do something. Just to quote a great man, really explore the space.
Yeah,
do something different.
Yeah,
the great Bruce Dickinson. Damn it.
Yeah.
All right.
He puts on his pants one leg at a time, like everybody else. But once they're on, he makes solid gold records.
Right on, Bruce.
Yeah.
Oh boy. But yeah. Next up, we got ourselves our cameo of the evening on the Mike Myers elevator ride sketch, written by Michael Che and Carl Tart.
So we got the real Mike Myers
making
a cameo as himself. He gets on an elevator, and Keenan as Kanye West is on the elevator.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is calling back to an awkward encounter they had during the George W. Bush administration. So that's going back like what, 15 years at this point?
That instance you're talking about at the Hurricane Katrina benefit, that happened in 2005.
Oh, 20 years! Holy shit!
I love that choking noise. Like, Paul?
Holy shit!
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So in the words of Lorne Michaels, why now?
Yeah, like I had, 2005, I had known my wife for like a year at that point. And it's, and I think somebody mentioned it on like Twitter, Instagram. It's like, if you're somebody who's under the age of 20, would you understand the reference that they're doing here? I mean, they do explain it. It's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they do explicitly call out that it was during the Hurricane Katrina thing where he says George W. Bush doesn't care about black people. I was thinking that was 15 years ago on the outside because I wasn't doing the math. But Jesus. So, why?
I think,
The other thing that kind of mystified me was, like, why is Keenan playing Kanye? Like, it seems like that's more in Devin's wheelhouse. But
I was thinking that, too. It's like, oh, Devin probably would have maybe done a little bit more with this, or... Yeah. I don't know. Because
I will just... I'm only speaking for myself here. I find Keenan's impressions very hit or miss. Like, sometimes he's great, like, Steve Harvey in Family Feud, he's perfect. He's wonderful. But sometimes it's just like, wait, who are you doing? and I don't think it's his forte necessarily. You know?
Yeah, it's not quite there, and like the two of them, and plus the whole like conversation between the two of them, it doesn't kind of really go anywhere. Like it kind of.
Were they doing this because like the Diddy trial is going on now?
Yeah, they mentioned that too. It's like, oh, this Diddy
Yeah.
stuff is crazy, right? You think you know a guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, because Kanye is or Ye is he's an insane person now. And I was like, all right, where is this going? Because like, and then as the elevator
and they
goes
didn't even
up,
do much with Kanye being a big MAGA guy now.
well, I mean, they did say he was in the KKK.
Oh, well, true.
So I mean, that's
okay. So I guess the implication is that if he's in the KKK, he's a MAGA guy.
I mean, birds of a feather.
Yeah,
yeah. So like, and then
it's really just a difference in hat hat.
One is red in the baseball cap. One is long and pointy and white. It's pretty
right, like a dunce cap.
Yeah. Ooh, damn, son. That's what's up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did I ever? I've told you. Well, no, you must know this because it was a line in my act.
Do you have somebody? You know somebody in the KKK?
No. Like when I lived in Florence, Alabama, the KKK was listed in the phone book.
Oh shit! What?
Yeah, that's honestly not the bad part. You want to know the bad part?
Oh no! What's the bad?
They were
part?
listed under social services.
Motherfucker!
Yep. This was in like the mid '80s.
We shall overcome.
I mean, maybe they're not listed in there anymore. I don't know. I hope. I haven't been back there in a long time. So,
God damn.
But mid 1980s, KKK listed in the Florence, Alabama phone book under social services.
Wow.
Yep.
I don't know if I want to do this podcast anymore.
I know. It kind of gets you down, doesn't it?
Oh, God almighty. Yes, much like the sketch. Hey, I brought it back around.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see what you did there. Because it was bad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Honestly, I don't know if I would say it was bad so much as it was just kind of head scratching.
Yeah, it was a little kind of meandery. Like at one point, the elevator stalls, and I guess they try to figure out to do something with that.
Because they did a callback to it on SNL like right after it happened. And that was funny.
Yeah.
Where they had the real Kanye and the real Mike Myers meeting.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's before he went insane. But yeah.
Come on.
I mean, like dangerously insane.
Oh, okay. All right.
He was always a little...
Yeah, he was just, disrupt Taylor Swift's acceptance speech at an award show insane.
Yeah, but that's like playfully insane. But like now he's just like...
The man has serious lack of impulse control.
I've never seen anything like it.
No.
But yeah,
I mean, what is he? A gay fish?
Oh shit! Damn. Topical.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was.
Bill Hader wrote that episode, by the way.
Ooh, nice.
Or co-wrote it.
Tying it into SNL, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was just trying to figure out, like, what are they trying to say with this? Like,
I don't know.
Are they trying to say something with this?
I don't know. Yeah, it didn't feel like it was making a statement. It felt like it was just in the show because like Mike Myers was around and they wanted to keep his thing in the show. So did Mike Myers suggest this? What?
He didn't write it, but
so what's going on? It's so weird. I'm just so perplexed by this sketch.
Yeah, this was
it's such a head scratcher. I mean,
this was a weird one, but yeah. But I mean, it's not going to be the only weird one we get tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, but again, I just feel like Lorne sipping white wine under the bleachers, just going, why now?
Why?
Yeah.
Okay. So next up, we got our musical guest. We got Bad Bunny doing Nueva York y Perfumito Nuevo featuring Reineo.
Perfect pronunciation, no notes.
Right? Pretty good, right? I took high school Spanish.
So.
Yep, B-.
So his... can they take that back? Because I think they might need to downgrade that a tad.
Hey, whatever, man. It's passing. Come on, it's my senior year, bro.
So, his first number, it starts out, he's on a girder with construction workers, kind of like that famous photograph of all the construction workers eating lunch, and they're sitting on a girder that's like suspended over the city, and
very high energy. I'll give him that.
Very high energy, and the second number was even more of a production number where he's like, there's like a ladies' room, and he's going back and forth with his
booth hang.
His guest singer, and they're like, vibing with each other across in the bathroom mirror. And
I think at one point she gets on his lap and they start like grinding in the bathroom stall. As you do.
There's a camera shot, a bird's eye view from overhead, and they're basically like shooting directly down at them, and I have no idea what he's singing about. I don't speak the Spanish.
I'm an American.
Yeah, America.
Yeah.
Tough for me to critique. I don't know. The people seem to like it.
Yeah, no, it seemed like a lot of people in the audience were there to see Bad Bunny. Yeah. He's like an international star. I enjoyed the songs for the most part. They're like really upbeat.
Popular.
Yeah, they're pretty upbeat and catchy. And he was given. I think from what I remember the last time he performed, there were like kind of more slower songs, and he seemed a little bit more. I don't want to say lethargic, but it seemed a little bit more of a drowsy.
You just said lethargic.
Okay, well, there we go.
You didn't want to say it, but you said it.
Didn't want it, but he said it. But yeah, it's like a more of a drowsy performance. Like I think this one was more upbeat, both of them. And for the most part, I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of fun. I can dig this.
So, okay, I think we need to ask the big question that we try to ask about our musical guests. Does Lorne Michaels know who this person is?
Bad Bunny hosted recently. He did double duty very recently.
Right.
So
he dressed up as Shrek.
People still talk about that dumb Shrek sketch.
Bear a grudge. Yeah.
I didn't like it, but for some reason
neither did I, really.
For some reason the youths went gaga over it.
Yeah, I guess because it was so random or whatever. I don't know. Okay, fine. I feel reasonably confident that Lorne knows who Bad Bunny is. I think there would be at least a glimmer of recognition if he passed him in the hall. So
he was at SNL 50. He performed in Radio City.
Yeah. Oh, like I said, a glimmer of recognition.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's very true. But I think he would know.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the consensus is he would know.
He would know.
This has been our recurring segment. Does Lorne know who the musical guest is?
Do. Does Lauren know who the musical guest is? Hey now, does Lauren know?
Okay, why are you singing Lauren instead of Lorne?
You know what? As soon as I said that, I hated myself for it because that's something I know.
I hated you for it too.
Yeah, because that's something that's like a pet peeve of mine. When a lot of people do say Lauren when his name is Lorne, and I fell into that same trap.
Lauren?
I became what I hate. It's like
who
when
says
people,
Lauren?
I've heard if you listen to some interviewers of people, they do say Lauren instead of Lorne. Some people say it.
Loren?
Yeah, or Lauren. Or if you have the average person on the street, I feel like 9 times out of 10 they'll say Lauren instead of
Those
Lauren.
Are probably the same people who call it S and L.
Same people that call it a skit.
Yeah.
Dummies.
Yeah. You know what I say? Fuck those people.
Yeah. Right up the poop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hulk smash.
Maybe I should work up a tally for next week of like how many musical guests we think Lorne knows.
Ooh.
Like could he pick them all out of a lineup? Yeah.
Yes. Former musical guest or Arcade Fire.
Yeah, exactly. He knows who Arcade Fire is. He knows who Elton John is. The rest, kind of a crapshoot.
And Paul Simon. He would know Paul Simon.
Yeah, okay, yes, he knows Paul. Yeah.
Paul, I know you.
Yeah, Paul, yes.
yes. I was the best man at your wedding. I do recall.
Yeah. Anyway, are we ready for Weekend Update?
We are ready for Weekend Update with Colin Jost.
And Michael Che.
Che.
Possibly for the last time. We don't know.
Question mark?
Question mark? Shrug shoulders?
Now we're just making noises.
Yeah. Huge applause for the two of them up at the top. I mean, I feel like half the audience was thinking like we're seeing Justin Che's last update.
I was thinking that as well.
I think they were tossing a lot of love their way, you know?
Yeah.
Not undeservedly. It was a bigger reception than they usually get, I think.
It was a big pop. They got a big pop.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Jokes about Trump's visit to the Middle East and how the people over there served Trump one of his favorite meals from the McDonald's truck called the McJournalist. And you see a burger with a press pass sticking out of it.
Because they kill journalists. Yeah. I really loved, Che had a joke about where the punchline was must be the Mandela effect.
Yes.
Like a South Africa joke. I was like, damn, that's a good joke. That is a great, great joke.
That's a good one.
I was very impressed with that joke.
Trey had another joke about how tired people could have suffered a mini stroke, which makes sense because after I always get sleepy after I stroke.
Masturbation.
Yeah. It's funny because it's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, as always, I think their jokes are pretty on point. Like I think I said it on the last episode. Like every time Weekend Update comes on, I'm always like, I always look forward.
You're all giddy.
Yes, they're very dependable, very reliable.
You're all a tingle.
Yes, I'm all a flutter.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like a little.
Darren is hovering around the room right now.
I'm as happy as a little girl.
Yes.
Because like I just know like they always kind of deliver the goods. So I mean, if this does end up being their last hurrah, I mean, I'll be bummed, but I feel like they would have gone out on top.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so we got a death segment. We got Miss Eggy up here, Eggo Woden, bringing back her stand-up comedian persona.
Yeah, Miss Eggy on airplane food. I liked the intro line where they said, "You know her, you love her, you got her fined by the FCC." Because when this character debuted, she's doing like this deaf comedy jam sort of thing.
Yeah,
Def Jam comedy. I'm forgetting what order those words go in.
Def Comedy Jam.
Def Comedy Jam. Thank you. I was second guessing myself because I'm so very, very white. So she's like sort of like bringing the audience in and having them sort of finish, and she's like, because men ain't what? And then the audience goes, shit. And she's like, oh.
Oh, Lon's gonna hate y'all for that one. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, damn, y'all.
But she was really throwing herself into it. I mean, it's a good character for her, I think. So I understand why they brought this character back, and it's fun. It's got a lot of energy. It's a high energy bet.
Yeah, and I think the jokes are kind of cheesy, but like the way she performed,
but intentionally so.
Yeah, but the way she does it, like in this over the top persona, does make me laugh. Like they're trying to serve me on an airplane. They're trying to serve me a turkey pesto on ciabatta. I'm like, this bitch ciabatta lose her life.
Yeah,
that bread was harder than my man is when I get out the tub. You know what I'm saying?
And it didn't have the flaw that the last time had, where it was clear what the audience was supposed to interject.
Yes.
When she went to them. So, no FCC fines this time around.
Right. TSA, they putting on Papa Smurf gloves, thinking they can feel me up just because I got a gun. I was like, what? Papa Smurf gloves?
Yeah.
That's a visual. That's a visual.
So I enjoyed this. But I think the clear highlight, the thing that everybody was waiting to see for this update was the joke swap, which they do on the Christmas show and at the end of the season.
Yes.
So everybody knew this was coming. They've been doing it for years.
Mm-hmm. And And right off the top, we start off with Colin looking to the camera talking to his boss, Lorne, saying, retire, Lauren, saying, retire, bitch, let me run the show.
Yeah, because that's That's the big rumor. And then he also talks about, and then he goes into his first joke. That wasn't a joke. That was just a plea to let him run the show. And he says, there's the first soap opera with a predominantly black cast. It airs when black people are home from work 24 hours a day.
Damn. A word?
Because black people don't work.
They don't be working, y'all. Oh, hey-o. Hey-o.
Got him.
Yeah.
And
then Che had the joke about the Minecraft movie where I know it's a big hit, that movie, and there's this one scene where a chicken jockey comes out. And when that happens, all the teenagers kind of get up.
Chicken jockey sounds like some sort of racist slur, doesn't it?
It kind of does. I was like, what race would that be against?
Like if I called someone of a different race a chicken jockey, I feel like I would be canceled the next day.
Yeah. See all these chicken jockeys moving to our neighborhood now?
I don't know what race that would be referring to, but it doesn't sound complimentary.
One of them chicken jockeys tried to talk to my sister. I'm like, fuck that. But yeah, so anyway, there's a chicken jockey scene in a Minecraft movie, and when that happens, all the teens throw up popcorn in the air and everybody goes nuts. And then, of course, Chad's like, hey, could you guys calm down? Because some of us are trying to masturbate.
Yeah. And I like when it cuts back to Jost, and it's just him and a picture of two bonobos, and you just know it is going to be the most racist shit imaginable.
Yeah.
Because your brain just kind of like switches over into that mode. Because it's like, but what's the worst possible thing you could say in connection with this photo? Yes, that is it.
There it is.
Yeah.
Whoop, there it is.
Yeah. And then I'd say the big highlight, though, is that Jost has Scarlett Johansson come out for Che to apologize to her for last time.
Yes, he apologizes for lashing out. Because if he's being honest with himself, he was just jealous because he's never even seen a human vagina.
Yeah.
Notice he said human.
Yeah. Yeah. And he says, when Colin discovered me, I was selling crack outside the building. Now look at me. I'm selling crack in an American Girl doll store.
Move it on up.
Yeah.
Yes, he's told thousands of jokes on Update and has gotten dozens of laughs.
But Che still has some life in him, where he gets Colin to say, "I wouldn't say I'm a Nick Kerr lover."
Yikes!
You have to pronounce that joke very, very carefully.
Very much so.
Nick Kerr.
Right. So
I don't even know. I don't even think that's a real person. They just made up a hypothetical.
No, it is
named Nick. No, wasn't the father like a real person?
Yeah, the father is Steve Kerr. He's the head coach of the Golden State Warriors. He has a son named Nick.
He actually has a son named Nick. Oh, yeah. Oh my.
I know.
Well, his life's going to be a living hell now.
Yeah. So the joke was, I love Steve Kerr, but I only like Nick. So while I love Steve Kerr, you can say that I'm not a Nick Kerr lover.
You don't have to put as much space.
I feel like I do. I feel like
I mean, well, if you don't, it's not the end of you.
Yeah, but still, I was like, I don't want to take any chances out here in these streets.
Right.
And
Frank, please edit that pause down. Thank you.
Frank, don't you dare! I have too much to lose.
Pause down. Time code 1 hour 13 minutes. Thank you very much.
John, you son of a bitch! Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
Yeah, just putting it in the show notes. Hang on.
Oh no, I know. But yeah, Nick Kerr, if you're listening, just go by Nicholas, please.
Yeah.
Just you're making everybody nervous when they have to say your name.
Yeah. And let's see. I just have in my notes, topping off Priest with my pretty little mouth.
Yeah, but what was the last joke though?
Yeah, no, that's just my to-do list. Yeah, and they have Colin actually putting on lipstick, and I love that we see a little hand in the corner of the frame just putting the lipstick on the update. desk.
Just a PA off stage. Like
That was kind of hilarious.
Your lipstick,
and,
Mr.
Yeah,
Jest.
he puts on the lipstick and he says, "Lauren, I'll do anything to run this show."
Oh. Go.
Oral sex jokes.
Wow. Wowie wow wow. Yeah, this one was really something.
Yep.
I mean,
went hard.
Yeah, I still think the last one with the roast beef, that one was.
Yeah, I mean, how do you top that?
That was explosive, but this one comes pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, you knew that they were going to involve Scarlett in the joke swap somehow, some way.
I actually thought she would be involved more. It seemed like
I was thinking they would either have her have more to say or have her read a joke or two. I feel like they could have done a little more with her, but I guess they just decided to keep it Colin and Michael.
Yeah, so. I guess so. So the Miss Eggy segment was written by Ego, Josh Patton, Will Steven, Carl Tart, and Asha Ward, and of course, the joke swap was Jost and Che.
Oh, really? They wrote that themselves. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, shocking.
Interesting.
So next up, Intimacy Coordinators, written by the PDD Boys and Celeste Yim.
So we got, they're shooting a movie called Penelope's Secret. It's a romance of two women in the 1950s. Mikey is the director. Sarah's the non-binary assistant director. And we've got Keenan and Scarlett Johansson as the two intimacy coordinators.
Mm-hmm.
And they're there to instruct and make sure everything is comfortable for the two actresses, Ashley Padilla and Jane Wickline. And it gets off to a great start where right off the bat, the two intimacy coordinators say, "Where's the dude?"
Right. And it's like, no, it's two women. It's mostly Keenan kind of confused by this. He's intimacy coordinator. He's like, how would that even work?
Yeah.
Because I don't understand how two buns make a hot dog.
Yeah. Two donuts don't make a balanced breakfast.
Too much tunnel, not enough train.
Yeah. I liked how Scarlett had the line. She said, "I'm ally passing."
Yes.
That's a really funny, very clever line. The sketch was handicapped a little bit because towards the end, they convinced Keenan he's going to go watch some videos of women being together to get a feel for what the scene should be.
Yeah.
And he goes through the wall, but the camera missed him going through the wall. So
yeah, because Keenan's character was just confused about how can two women have sex, and then ScarJo's character said, "Well, just picture it," and then he pictured it, and suddenly he was like, "Oh, this is amazing! I got to go look at some videos," and he immediately wants to go online and watch some porno.
And they cut out a hole in the wall, like a cartoon hole in the wall where it leaves the shape of the figure. And it would have been really funny if it was on camera, but it wasn't. So we just kind of see the aftermath.
Yeah, that's true. And then it just kind of ends with ScarJo saying, "All right, well, let's just do it." And then everybody goes, "Yay!" And then we get a spinning newspaper, which I haven't seen since the 90s.
Yeah.
And then it says,
people don't read newspapers anymore.
Of course, it's a dead art. And then it says ally passing, intimacy coordinators make most romantic movie ever.
Yeah.
I felt like some stuff was cut out at the last minute on this one.
Yeah, it was cut down by
I feel
it's possible.
Yeah, because it didn't. Yeah, because it feel like maybe they were trying to say something about the new protocols going forward with shooting on sets now with binary and non-binary people, because they made a point to say that Mikey, who's the director, is like, "Yeah, I'm a man, I know, boo, but my assistant director, she's a woman, yay!" And then
I liked towards the end of the sketch, he says "Oh, isn't she annoying?" And then Sarah's like, "Hey," he goes, "Excuse me, aren't they annoying?" That was cute. I don't know. I felt like this would have been a little more timely a year or two ago, though.
Yeah, I think I saw somebody on Twitter saying this feels like something that would have come on in season 30. The whole the whole sketch hinges on the part of the, like, oh, how do two women having sex? That's weird. But like that feels like kind of an old, outdated premise. A little like that's something
Well,
that they would have.
I didn't mind that, but I mean, the intimacy coordinator thing, I mean, that's something that's kind of recent. I mean, I've only been hearing about that sort of thing in the last 5 years or so.
Right.
So,
It's fairly new, but
yeah.
still, like, I mean, at 2025, most people can wrap their minds around the idea of two women having sex, and most,
Yeah.
I, yeah, I'm not gonna
Well,
make it. I'm not gonna
didn't
make a
mind
dirty
that.
joke.
No, I didn't mind that just because the point of it was that those two people were just being thick.
Yeah,
So I didn't mind that. I just thought, I don't know, like presenting an intimacy coordinator as a novelty. It seems a little late in the day for that, you know?
yeah, very true. But yeah, I mean, this sketch, I thought, I was like, this feels kind of weak, and it feels like it was missing something. I feel like there was like more.
Uh-huh.
I feel like there was more to it, but it got cut down for time.
More girl on girl kissing.
I mean, I wouldn't say no to that.
Uh-huh.
Hey now, yeah, ha ha.
So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the miscue towards the end kind of.
Yeah, that
I
was
would have given it a bigger ending.
yeah. It did seem like a lot of people were kind of off with this. Like they didn't like the
Yeah,
rhythm for everybody felt a little off as well.
yeah.
Anyway, TV press junket written by Allison Gates, Ken Supplett, and Celeste Yim.
This is a bit of a reprise, and oddly enough, I like watched the original sketch by sheer coincidence earlier this week. I
Oh,
had
no
no idea
way.
they would be reprising it. Yeah, and it was, where they, and from what I understand, it was like inspired by like some group interviews that the SNL people were doing, where Pete Davidson was getting all these softball questions, and everybody else was getting these hardball gotcha questions.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've seen that in a lot of kind of TV interviews where like the guy always
Yeah,
gets like, "Hey, what's your favorite color?"
yeah,
And like the women and minorities always get the questions like, "What does this role mean to you as a woman?" Like you
yeah,
get
yeah.
you have to sort of answer for your entire race or gender type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Now, Darren, as a black man,
go yes.
what did you think of this sketch?
I thought it was better the first time when the Anya Taylor-Joy episode in season
Yeah,
46.
agreed.
I think
Yeah,
yeah, like
I mean, there it built better. I mean,
yes.
because that one is still fresh in my mind because I just happened to rewatch it this week, and I think it was just generally better performed.
It was.
And again, like we were saying with the other sketches they reprised, like Bowen's So Straight. It's like it had the element of surprise to it. So
Yeah, and I think also, I don't know what, it felt like Scarlett Johansson and Bowen, they were kind of rushing through the questions a little bit.
uh-huh.
And like they didn't give enough time for each question to like really kind of land and like kind of lay in the awkwardness, which helps build
Uh-huh.
up the laughter in the sketch. It was just like, them asking Marcelo, the guy, saying, "Hey, how did you get into acting? What's your favorite color?" And
Mhm.
then it goes straight to Bowen asking Ego, "What's harder, being a woman or being black?" And
Right.
asking, but they don't even wait for an answer. They just like rapid fire. Like, "When's the last time you
Yeah.
took your Plan B?"
Mhm.
You're not.
You're
Hey,
not as attractive as the other cast members. And Sarah goes, "Is that even a question?" um, I think my favorite bit was when they just say to Ego, "You're being written out of the show next season. Is it because of your leaked nudes?" And Ego just says, "Okay, this is literally the first time I'm finding out about all of that." That's a lot to absorb.
right. And I did like the one where I think ScarJo asked Jane Wickline,
Mhm.
like, "Hey, you just had a really bad divorce. Whose fault was it? You or your husband?" And then
Yeah,
Jane
yeah,
says, "Well, it was a girl, and it was my fault."
yeah, yeah. And then like I liked later they're talking to Ego and they're still referring to her being written out of the show, and Ego's like, "Wait, has that been confirmed? Is that happening?"
Yeah.
Um,
And I will I mean, maybe there's a little bit more to this that I like. There was one point
mhm.
where Bowen was asking Heidi a question saying, "Hey, if you could vote off one religion off the face of the earth, which would it be?" And she
Right.
firmly says, "Pass." And she
Yeah.
says, "Okay, how come all of your exes are white?" And then she says, "Pass." And then she kind of
Yeah.
looked ashamed.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
So I was like, all right, I was like, there's, I,
Yeah. It's cleverly done, and like a lot of the comments I was seeing on YouTube were like, "Oh, Scarlett must really be emphasizing with this." Uh, because like she's gotten a lot of inane questions at various press.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
And stuff.
Yeah,
like there've been like compilations of her like responding to stupid or sexist questions. Where it's just like, oh, do you wear underwear under your Black Widow outfit?
Oh,
Or, like literally on that level. Or
people
like,
actually
what kind of diet regimen did you have to do? Or
people actually say the underwear shit. That's fucked up.
Yeah, no, and to her credit, she refuses to answer that. She's like, really? You're asking me the underwear question? What the hell? What the hell? How was that appropriate? And yeah, and because she's a real one. So,
oh Lord, guys, people are weird.
People are awful. People are
the worst.
People are bastards. They're bastard covered bastards with bastard filling.
You're bastard people.
That's what you are. You're bastard people.
I'm gonna go home and bite my pillow. But yeah, this sketch, there were some good lines in it here and there, but overall, I don't think it came together that great.
Yeah, like overall, this episode had a few more reprises than I would have cared for. But
yeah,
I guess that's an end of the season thing.
I guess so. Yeah, it's like the last day of school where you're just kind of writing it out to the bell rings.
Right.
So you get the fuck out.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, exactly. And bell's about to ring because we're at our 10-1 sketch of Victorian Ladies at Lunch, written by Colin Jost, Moss Perricone, and Kent Sublette.
So basically, a bunch of Victorian ladies eating gross food.
Yep, yeah, that's it. That's really it.
Yeah, something with food coloring because it's like staining their teeth.
Yeah, so yeah, and this
like they're most of them still had like green teeth at good nights.
Yeah, very much. It's hard to get that shit out.
Yeah,
but yeah, so around the table we have Heidi, we have ScarJo, we have Sarah Sherman, we have Chloe Fineman, who I feel like this is like the first. This might be her only sketch of the night, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah, I think this was the first time we saw her since the monologue.
Yeah.
So,
and it's all of them saying, "Oh, ladies, about to have lunch." And Andrew Dismukes, as the server, comes out, serves the food, serving them blood pudding, pickled cow's feet, jellied eels, candied clams that have been kept open in a wooden box.
Yeah.
Boiled calf's heads. And just basically them talking, I guess in the Victorian era, they just ate really gross food like this.
Yeah, I guess it's supposed to be just like old-fashioned, obsolete food. And yeah, I mean, it's just the goof factor of just seeing them eat all this gross-looking stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot of breaking there. And like, I guess, it's one of those sketches that looks like is more fun to do than to actually kind of watch, because like it is.
Yeah,
it does get a little nauseating. Don't watch the sketch if you're eating something, for sure. Like I think at one point, like Chloe was eating some of the blood pudding, and she literally like is so repulsed by it, she spits it back up.
Yeah,
like she's like, oh, this is gross.
Yeah.
There was that one line that I liked about them talking about how they wanted to have donkey's milk, telling Dismukes, we want donkey's milk. Don't make that same mistake again. And then Dismukes replies like, "Oh, now you understand why it took so long the last time."
Yeah.
And and then we see a title card about an hour later, and then all the women talking about how they everybody went to the bathroom.
Yeah,
Heidi did numbers 1 through 7.
I liked that. That was funny. And she was like, "But I couldn't remove any of my layers of garments first."
Yeah,
but I like that I did number 2 through 7.
Wow, I was like, what could that be?
Yeah, I don't know.
And then it ends with the server Dismukes talking them into having a dinner, another full meal for dinner, and then the whole thing turned out to be a Pepto-Bismol ad.
Yeah.
When in doubt, make it a commercial.
Yeah, I'm a little tired of that ending. They've gone to that well a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Like they gotta.
Yeah.
They gotta figure. They can't lean on that crutch.
Yeah. Well, it's just not really a surprising way to end a sketch anymore.
Yeah.
So. we had a good run out of that, but
Yeah, it's time to hang it up that jersey in the rafters.
yeah, yeah.
And that's the episode. That's our final episode, season 50.
I did like in the Good Nights where Colin brought Scarlett a bouquet of roses. That was really cute and that was really sweet.
That was very sweet. And actually, if you
those two are really cute together.
They are.
You know,
match made in heaven.
Just, yeah, they obviously just you know that's cool. I forget how many years they've been married now. Probably at least 3, 4, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, they got 2 kids.
Do they have kids with? Okay, I see. I lose track of like. I know she had like a kid or 2 from her previous marriage.
Oh, yeah, but I know they had. All right, so.
October... I'm looking it up. Okay, personal life. Scarlett Johansson. They started dating in May 2017. In May 2019, they were engaged. They were married October 2020. Wow, they're coming up on 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
She gave birth to their son in August 2021. So
okay. So they have 1 kid. I thought it was more than 1.
I know she has a kid from her previous marriage.
Oh, with Ryan Reynolds or something like that?
No, the French guy.
French guy. French guy.
Yeah, because I remember that she was pregnant while they were shooting Age of Ultron.
Oh, interesting.
And so like she had to be doubled for a lot of that movie, or they had to use CGI to get rid of her baby belly.
Got it. Okay.
I think that was her first child. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, either way, yeah, they do look happy together. And if you're watching the Good Nights live, you probably saw that it got cut off. SNL cut it off easy, but like you can find the full Good Nights online somewhere. Part of me was kind of hoping that like, oh, maybe now they'll announce who's leaving, or maybe it'll be a surprise. And no, it just never happened. Like no one.
No, but like I watched the full Good Nights on Peacock, and Bowen and Sarah are like having a real moment.
I noticed that too. Yeah,
they usually stand in the same area of the stage, and they're like, that's the usual. Look at each other, and maybe it's just like the end of the season, but like Bowen seems like very emotional.
Yeah,
and Sarah's making like sort of a funny frowny face, and it's just like, well, what's that about?
Yeah, a lot of people notice that online, are speculating. Oh, is Bowen leaving? Is Sarah leaving? Are they both leaving?
Yeah,
and I don't know. I mean, it could be just a thing that they finally got through, this entire season, and like working on the show is emotionally draining and exhausting, physically, mentally, emotionally. So maybe it was just a cry of relief.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that, or it's I mean, it's so you can read anything into that, but it was just like, oh, they're having a moment.
Yeah. But it was very sweet. Like they have a true, genuine friendship. You can absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, those two are obviously pretty tight. So.
Absolutely. So, and that's the episode. That's how we end season 50. I mean, I don't know. Part of me was kind of hoping that it would end on a stronger note. Like, I don't know, maybe I was expecting like a bigger cameo or some bigger news or something. But overall, I guess it ended well enough.
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting a whole lot in the way of cameos, and I certainly wasn't expecting like any announcements of like this person's leaving. It did seem like towards the end of Weekend Update when they were going into Joke Swap, Joe had like a pause, like he was like saying like this is our last show of the season. And it seemed like for a minute he was like about to announce it was like their last update ever or something.
Right, yeah.
But again, I think I'm reading too much into it. I think he just stumbled over at an inopportune moment.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, so I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't want to make like big predictions. It wouldn't surprise me if Jost and Che leave at this point, but
yeah. But I mean, if they were going to leave, I kind of thought they would have ended on a bigger, go out on a big bombastic note, like they would have made more of a spectacle of it. But I don't know. We'll see what happened, and
it wouldn't shock me if they leave. It wouldn't surprise me if they stay. So I don't know. Yeah,
should I stay or should I go? But enough of our ramblings and mumblings. What did you guys think? What did you guys out there in the on the Twitters and not Twitters, the blue skies, because we
Yeah,
say fuck Twitter.
yeah. What are your ramblings and mutterings?
Exactly.
So,
Well, we put the word out on Blue Sky. We heard from Red Mirror Ball saying strange use of Mike Myers, underutilized him for sure.
yeah, agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Our friend Helion says, "Hello, fellow nerds. We are here for the last day of school. We got to see all of our cast members in actions today. We got our PDD boys. I think Scarlett did a fine job. We had a couple of repeats, Miss Eggy and the Bowen Pulls. All in all, energy seemed great. Love the musical performance."
There you go.
And then he goes on, "Getting really sick of the cold opens, though I'm glad that's over. Getting really sick of the cold opens, though I'm glad that's over.
Mm-hmm.
Colin might get jumped over the joke swap."
Oh boy.
And I think I figured out what a number 37 is. I'm assuming
Okay.
it's just different variations of Double Dragons.
Double Dragons. What's that? Like the video game?
I'm afraid to even Google it. I know Urban Dictionary probably has the answer to that. I'm like, Double Dragons, the video game, the movie with Scott Wolf and the other dude.
Yeah, Mike.
What?
So many questions. Like,
What?
wow.
I don't think I want to know what a double dragon is.
All these new inventive ways to pee and poop. Who knew?
Love you guys.
Aww.
Oh, I also own an OG vinyl of Piano Man, so loved that.
La da di da da da.
Yeah.
Stephen M saying, "Wow, Scar J brought the fun and the sexy. Felt a little bad she had to sit there during the joke swap without more lines." Yeah, I thought she'd have more to do, but just kind of.
Yeah.
I thought she'd like say some of the jokes or something.
Yeah. Like, I wish they could have given her a little material. That would have been fun.
Yeah. What's up?
I'm wondering what sketch Stephen found particularly sexy, though. I'm guessing the Victorian ladies who lunch.
Hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eat that heel slowly.
I love my girls with green teeth.
Nick Storr says, "I love Mikey. Have done since the beginning. Love his writing. Love the way he builds up his cast and hosts. Hate it when he uses his childish voice, his sawy voice, which he did twice this evening. Please come back, Mikey. Don't let this be your last episode. Otherwise, underwhelmed." Ooh.
Yeah.
Nick's got some real opinions on Mikey Day here.
Yeah, like I do notice he kind of does that once in a while. Like he did when he was the pilot in the PDD sketch. He was like, "Oh, that's not good," and like, and again, in the intimacy,
little Urkelly.
Yeah, sorry. Like I was like, that's, I guess, but I kind of see what he means.
He didn't do that enough to like get on my nerves, but I can see how that somebody could find that annoying. But,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I still like Mikey Day. And
yeah,
I think he's underrated as a performer, especially as a writer. He writes so much with Streeter Seidel.
He really does, and he's been on the show for a while now. Like, but he's still underrated. It's crazy.
But he's still one of my favorite people on the show, and I am not sick of him yet. So
that's right.
If he leaves the show, I will be sorry.
All right. Wow. It's so crazy because like when he first came on, we were like making jokes like we couldn't tell him apart between him and Alex Moffat, and now he's proven himself to be quite the adept performer, and we tip our hats.
If you look up the list of sketches that man has written or co-written, it's just banger after banger after banger. I mean the George Washington with Nate Bargatze. The Beavis and Butthead sketch, the War in Words.
He probably did the Grouch sketch, the David Harbour episode.
Yeah, that seems like one of his.
Whenever I see a sketch is written by Streeter and Mikey, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. Like, I look forward to it.
Sure. Their stuff speaks to me the most, so I'm really gonna miss it when they are done with the show. So,
well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
we shall see what happens, and that's the episode, guys. Thanks for listening to the podcast as always. Tune in next week when we have our regular SNL 50 wrap up, the season wrap up that we always do at the end of every season, And we have our good friend, Mr. Dennis Perkins, with us, as always.
Mr. Dennis Perkins of Late Nighter.
Ooh, yes.
Which is a great site to follow if you have any interest in late night shows in general and SNL in particular.
So. Absolutely. And as always, you could follow us on Blue Sky at SNL Nerds. You could donate to our Patreon at Non-Productive.com. Go to our YouTube page. Listen to all this nonsense on YouTube. And you can follow me, myself, and I on the social media platforms at Darren Credible. That's DARIN Credible.
And you can follow me on the social media at Trumbull Comic. That's TRUMBULL and the word comic. That's, Blue Sky, Instagram, Letterboxd, all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, did we tell them to follow us on Non-Productive.com and contribute to the Patreon where they can get bonus content and all that?
We did now.
Yeah, it bears repeating.
Yes.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, so do that. Yeah, do that. You can listen to our episode with Susan Morrison, author of Lorne, the Man Who Invented Saturday Night Live. We had a great conversation with her.
It's really
good book. So recommend the book too.
Hear.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, man.
So yeah.
So I guess that's it.
Yeah.
So what do we do now?
We're officially done with the season. We'll be back next week with our season review with Dennis Perkins and all that fun stuff. I don't know. What else is going on with you, Darren? You good?
I'm cool.
You good?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Are we good? I'm gonna go Mark and Aaron. So we good?
Lock the gates!
Boomer lives.
Oh boy. Copyright.
Yeah. Anyway, so join us next week for our season review show with Dennis Perkins, and we'll have fun. And tell us what you thought of the season. What did you think of the season overall? Was it a good, strong season? Was it weak or something in between? We want to hear what you think, and we'll read those on next week's show. But until then, nerds out.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.